Okay, guys, I don't know what is going on with that, but looks like we're up and running. So, good evening, everyone. How are you all? Hope you guys are having a great start of the week. Yeah, I gotta figure out how that timer went off. That just doesn't that just irk you when something is supposed to work and it's not? Okay. Let's see who is here. Let's do some quick shout outs. Hello, Miss Nancy. How are you? And we got the Irish Sail Lady here. Linda Faust is here. Donna Hoffler is here. Hey, Sandy. And Jim Bennett is here. And then, okay, Shirley Kissinger is here. Hello, Shirley. Got Katie Crafts here. Susan Leong is saying hello, hello, hello. And Claudia Lautenslager. Hello, Claudia. We got Betty Chapman. Hello. How are you? Barb McKinley is here. She's saying hi, Treasure Heart family. Hello, Miss Barbara. And we got Jackie here. And Sin Forrest is here. She's saying, let's thumbs up for Eric. Thank you very much, Sin. And Marie Johns is here. Hello, Marie. Suzanne Taylor is saying hello. Okay. Rent's been paid. Thumbs up. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sin. So, what am I working on tonight? Well, few housekeeping things before we get started with tonight's project, though. I would like to say thank you for those of you who have seen the latest video about this quilt behind me, the curve quilt, as I call it, and a lot of people have been responding to it very positively, so I'm happy about that. And when I say positively, meaning they got people were sharing their own stories about what they've struggled with, and the insecurities that they face. So I'm pleased that it's having such a positive response and positive reaction to people. So if you haven't seen it, it's called the Curve Quilt. I just put it. It just went on live on the YouTube channel Sunday morning. So check it out if you have time. Hey, Suzanne Taylor, and hello, Miss Sheila Willis, and hello, Judy. So yeah. Now, on top of that, there have been a number of people that have been inquiring about the Zoom call. So I will be sending out an email tomorrow with the information, how to join, or the meeting information, as well as the password. So that, again, for those of you who don't know about it, I am doing a Zoom call sometime in early April, in which, for those that want to join in on this, we're going to be constructing, well, I'm going to be working on this quilt. I know a lot of people have already purchased their... We're going to be doing projects from this particular ruler. Again, this is the QCR Mini Curve Ruler from a company called So Kinda Wonderful. And if you got the ruler, make sure you get your pattern booklet as well. Okay. I did talk about this in a previous live, so if I remember to, I will put the link to that live in the description box below. Again, this is not going to be something I'm going to advertise on Facebook or on some other social media platform. So if you would like to join us on this, send me an email at treasureheartcreations@gmail.com, and I can send you or put you in the group for that. Okay. And I'm not sure if, well, the plan was to actually do this on a monthly basis. So for a couple of hours, maybe like the first Saturday or first Sunday sometimes. So, but we'll see about that. Okay. Now, let's get started on tonight's project. It was a great video. That's Katie Crafts. Thank you, Katie. And Chloe Morgan is here. She's saying hello. June Hansen is saying hello to everyone. Hello, June. All right. So let's get started with tonight's project. So if you've never heard of this quilt, okay, this is called, well, this is actually not really a pattern booklet, but it's a book about the farmer's wife quilt. It's not, how do I say this? It's not a book, or it's not a pattern booklet. So the book doesn't actually teach you how to construct the entire quilt. It's actually a book. It talks about the letters that sort of inspired the quilt, I guess. So if you've never heard of this quilt, okay, story goes that there was a magazine back in the 1920s and the 1930s, a pretty sizable magazine. I mean, according to this book, they had a total subscription or subscriber list of 750,000. Holy cow. Yeah. So what this magazine did, again, the magazine was called The Farmer's Wife, and what this magazine did was they made a contest out of this. And so the contest was that you had to answer a question. According to the book, in January 1922, the editors of the magazine asked their readers the following question: if you had a daughter of marriageable age, would you, in light of your own experience, want her to marry a farmer? Okay. Now, what was going on around at that time was that people were leaving the farms and heading or moving into the big city. And so the Farmer's Wife magazine kind of posed that question to a lot of women or their readers, I guess. And, people wrote in letters answering that question. And according to this book, the overwhelming response was that they would want their daughters to marry a farmer. In other words, they wanted them to live out in the country, not move to the big city. Now, within this particular book, there's excerpts from each of the letters there's excerpts from various letters that people wrote in. And alongside each of those letters, there's the various quilt blocks that is sort of associated to this particular quilt. Now, again, this booklet is not a pattern booklet, so it doesn't teach you how to construct the quilt itself, but in the back of the book, it does show you the various quilt blocks. And this particular book, there is an accompanying template set that you can download on the internet. And you can kind of see here that it shows you which pieces of the template set that you need to construct the actual block or to make this particular block. So, yeah, I'm not about to download all those pieces and download those templates. What I'm going to do is, this was sort of like on my bucket list of quilts to make this year, so I figure let's use the live as a time to actually do some of these blocks. And so I can't give you specific cut instructions because this is not my pattern. And there are various other pattern writers and other businesses that have like written instructions, and they give you the cut sizes. I know for a fact, for example, Quilting a Day had a whole series of making some of the various blocks. So what you will see me do though is just by looking at the picture here, I'm going to try and figure out how to make the block. But I'm not going to be giving out any cut sizes or fabric sizes here, I should say. Has anyone made this quilt? I'm just curious. Because I think a few years back, this was the quilt that everybody was trying to make. Okay. Let's see. Hello, Ms. Remo J. How are you? Glad you made it here tonight. And Sinforest says, oh, I have that book. How fun. Hi, Barbara Cade. Glad you made it here tonight. Welcome, welcome. And Marie John says, I started that quilt 5 years ago. I need to get back into it and finish it because it's amazing. Yes, I've seen various versions of this quilt, and it is quite stunning when you have it. I guess when you have the right fabrics. Well, we'll see how this one turns out because I'm just using whatever pre-cuts scraps that I have. Hey, Janice Miller. How are you, girl? Okay, Marie John says, my book came with a CD that has FPP patterns for every block. Again, there's various versions of this particular quilt. This is just one version of it. There's an FPP version. There's actually a whole nother quilt. I think they call it the 1930s version. So this is not the only booklet available. You can find this book on Amazon. There's also another version. I think it's the Farmer's Wife Sampler Quilt 1930s. Again, I know that Quilting a Day has their own pattern, their own written pattern for this quilt. So if you just do a Google search for a Farmer's Wife quilt, there's going to be a whole slew of things that you can find with it. Okay, why don't we just draft the pattern? That's legal. We could. Susan Leong says, I've done a few blocks in the book. Okay. I've actually done a few blocks from here too. It was, if you've been following the channel for a while, you might recall that we did do the water wheel and end of day, as well as a block called Flock. That was part of the 52 weeks, 52 block series. So, yeah. Apparently a lot of people have this book. Wow, I'm seeing like 3 or 4 of you that have said that you have this book. Okay, so we're going to start with block number 1 in this book, which was the attic window. So just by looking at this, I'm going to take a guess as to how to construct it. We'll see how this goes. And excuse me in advance, but there might be a little bit of swearing. Okay. Hello, Miss Tiffany. How are ya? Yeah. Oh, Tiffany, I need to tell you what happened at work today. So, let's see. I see a bar with sort of like a snowball corner or kind of a cut corner there. I see a square in the center, so that'll be my white piece here. I'm going to cut this square in half diagonally. We'll see how this goes. And this will go like that and like that. And then I'll use the purple for these two triangles. The hard part was I was trying to figure out what size these triangles are. I don't know, so I'll hold off on that. So that's the sort of the center. And then this, I'm going to take a guess. I hope I cut that right. Yep. And I'm going to shave off a little sliver here. I hope this is the right size. Again, there's no measurements to this. So I'm taking a wild guess that these are the right measurements here. And Remo J says that she's got both books. Whoa. Donna Hoffler says, looks like a lot of work. We'll see, Donna. We shall see. So one goes with the angle going up, and then the other goes with the angle going this way. Oh, so I should actually do it like that. Wait, is that going to turn out right? Better safe than sorry. I'm just going to cut it one at a time. Where did my fold line go? Okay, Tiffany says, haha, I am seeing, haha, okay. Okay, I do need to cut this at a 45-degree angle. Where's my 45-degree line? There it is. I'll cut that one. This can go in the crumb bin. So this one is the bottom. Now, whoops. Sorry about that. And then the top one has to go, let's see, I gotta cut it this way? Yeah. Fingers crossed that this actually works. If not, learn something new. Okay. So now what's interesting about this book is that it actually, wait, it's supposed to go there. That's not long enough. Well, we'll see. It gives you templates to cut each individual size, which I am not about to do that. Okay, hopefully I got the right sizes, so fingers crossed. I'm going to start sewing this together. Let me do, wait, that one, yep. Okay, so we got half of it. I'm going to press it outward. Let's do this half. Wait, this one goes like that? Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just got to try and experiment with stuff. I mean, that was kind of the point to the video about this quilt. You just grin and bear it and just give it a try. Okay, let me stow put together a little 4-patch here. Because I found a project that I finally want to do with all these 4-patches, but I need a ton of them. Okay. Okay, so I got the middle, at least. Now, did I make the right size? Ooh, I guessed right. So I will sew the top on that one. Susan Young is asking, Eric, I made this block, so do you want the measurements? I think I got the measurements. Well, again, I'm not really supposed to say the measurements because I could actually get in trouble for this. Okay, there's 1/2 of my 4-patch. Let's make the other half. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, so I got the top there, and I'm just finger pressing this along the way. Of course, we shall give it a good final press. Now this one goes on like that, I think. Oops, we need seam allowances. Yep. Janice Miller says, I have the book but have not done any of the blocks. Okay. Yeah. You know, I bought this book, oh gosh, 3 or 4 years ago, and I just never bothered to actually make this quilt because, again, I wasn't about to download all the templates and cut out the templates. But now I kind of feel confident that I can take a look at the block and just try and figure out what pieces I need. Or at least figure out the measurements of how to cut the fabric. So, because sometimes you just need to make it up as you go. I've been doing a lot of that lately with a lot of quilts. And I'm not a pattern, well, should I even say that? Because I do follow some patterns, but sometimes I just don't like, if I don't like the quilt or the final result, I'll change something up about the pattern. I've learned over the years to figure out how to do stuff like that, so. Okay. So I'm going to press the seam allowance outward. Now this is the part I wasn't quite sure. Let's see. So it needs to be here. What is that? Is that a 5-inch? Let's just go with that. If not, or if this ends up being too big, I can always trim it down. Make it oversized and trim it down. So is it a 5-inch? Huh. What do you know? Okay. And I just said a measurement, even though I'm not supposed to. Hey, 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 Miss Greenland Quilter. That's Katie. How you doing, girl? Okay. Um, let's see. Okay. Oh, before I forget, let's do this. So, this is just something I like to do. If you type in exclamation question, and this is a very relevant question to the quote or to the project that I'm making here. So, in light of the farmer's wife quilt and the inspiration behind the quilt, I kind of thought maybe I'll ask this question. So, lately I've been kind of having some thoughts about leaving Los Angeles and where would I go? That was the question I've been asking myself. Now, quite honestly, for quite some time I've been tired of big city life. So I wanted to move into smaller towns. But where do you guys stand on all of this? Do you like living in big cities? For those of you that do, or would you give up everything and move to a farm if that's what you want to do? Because essentially that's the same question that the Farmer's Wife Quilt magazine asked all of these subscribers. So Donna Hoffler says, I love small towns, not a fan of big cities. Okay. 100 Proof Quilter, hey. And they're saying, live on a farm just outside of the city. Okay. So I guess you get the best of both worlds, where you can be on a farm but still be close enough to a big city. Sin Forest says, probably small town. Okay. And Marie John says, I live in a small rural area, cows for neighbors. Oh, geez. Jim Bennett says, have lived in all three. Small town. Okay. Barb McKinley says, small town. If I was younger, I'd want to live on a farm. And guess who Nancy says, I've lived in both places. I pick a farm. Okay, for those of you who say that you would want to live on a farm or in a small town, what is it about those that makes you, or what do you like about it? Let me just put it that way. And if you say big city, well, what is it about a big city that you like? Claudia says, I lived on a farm in a small town and would love to go back to that life. I love it. Okay. I guess it's just a slower pace of life, or a slower pace, in which I can definitely understand that. Growing up in Hawaii, my grandparents actually lived on a plantation, or close to a plantation, and so the pace of life was very, very laid back. I don't necessarily want to say slow, but it wasn't like the hustle and bustle or rat race that I experience now in Los Angeles. So, sorry, I'm just looking for my 2.5-inch squares. But I guess when you're young, you want to be in the bigger city, but when you're kind of more settled down, I do know that a lot of people kind of, when they start wanting to raise families, raise their kids, they start to move to the suburbs, move to the smaller towns. There is actually a mass exodus of people that are leaving California and favoring to go to smaller places. I might be one of them soon. So sorry, I was just pulling out some 2.5-inch squares here. Judy Hebert says, peaceful and quiet. No, my neighbors. That's true. You know, in all of, I mean, I've been in here in Los Angeles for almost, 15 years now. I've never really, well, except with the exception of my neighbor now. They're pretty friendly. But most of my neighbors and some of my previous apartments, you know, I never really did talk to them. And I totally cut off the point, but I'm okay with that. Even though it's probably not good. Forgot about the seam allowance in that corner, so, oh well. I didn't realize I still had this purple. Let me choose this one. That'll go good. Oh, wait, I got multiples here. Okay. Small town people are like family, and it's a slower pace. I would definitely agree with that, Nancy. You know, growing up, I knew who my neighbors were. Of course, because me and the kids, we all went to the same school, so of course we would know each other. Are you going to work the farm? That's Denise. Well, farm life, I mean, I do remember growing up, again, my grandparents they lived on a plantation, and it was surprisingly a lot of work. So I don't know if I would go back to farm life or work the farm. Of course, milking the cow or feeding the chickens was always fun. Because I would just throw you know, when you feed the chickens, you're supposed to sprinkle it on the ground. I was a little kid. I would throw it at the chickens, see if I could hit them. So of course, when they see me coming out, even if I had food, they'd start running away. Okay, Mary Jane Ellinger says, no more of the population in a small town, and everyone is so friendly. Yep, I would agree with that. 100 Proof Quilter says, I need my chickens and bees, but still want to conveniently be able to get whatever supplies I need in the city. That's true. I guess when you're in a smaller town, there are certain conveniences that you do have living in a bigger city. I will admit that. Claudia says everybody knew. Oh, I think I read that. Everybody knew everybody. Almost every night we had friends stop in at dinner time, and it was not a big deal. You just put another place at the table. I guess that's what I really miss. The feeling of community. The feeling of, you know, having, like, knowing your neighbors. You don't really get a sense of that here, or at least I don't. But I will say, though, living in Los Angeles, again, there are some conveniences that you might not be able to get at smaller towns. And look at that. What do you know? My first block is kind of done. I should have accounted for this. No, is this 6.5? Sort of. It's a little short. It's a little short, but I'm good with it. Okay. So this block is called the attic window. Yeah, I think I measured this one wrong, but good enough for me. But I got it done. Let's see. Donna Huffler says, I like the ease of travel to places I need to go without all the traffic and less noise. That's true. That's true. That is one thing I could definitely live without here in Los Angeles is the traffic. Because, well, it takes me about an hour to an hour and a half to get to work. And I only live maybe about 15 miles away from the office. Let's see. Denise is asking, what would be the objection to going back close to your mother? Denise, that is a very good question. My only objection, or the big reason I don't want to go back to Hawaii, there's not a lot of opportunities there right now for me. Of course, I do miss my family. I do miss my friends back home. But Hawaii doesn't have a lot of job opportunities for people, in which that is one of the big reasons why a lot of the younger generations are moving to places like Las Vegas, to the Pacific Northwest. And when you live, I mean, if you've never lived on an island, island fever can be real, and you're just basically limited to just, or you're kind of confined to that space. So a lot of things, I guess island fever really is real. So, but that has been a thought that I've had going back home, especially because I know mom's getting up there in her age, and she's kind of slowing down, but even though she doesn't want to admit it. But she's still silly as ever. City life is very fast paced and small town is slower paced. That's Suzanne Taylor. Katie Kraft says, lived on a ranch, great life but tough. The work doesn't end. Lived in a small town and loved the closeness, but the amenities and doctors are few. Now I live in the Denver suburbs. Yep. Yeah, a lot of services, doctors, even dentists. I mean, if you need to have them or if you need to visit them, sometimes you'll be driving for quite a while. Eric, I have something to show you that I know you would think is super cool. Okay, send it on over. And let's see. Denise is asking, can you do your work from home? For safety reasons, because I work in the world of finance, they don't allow for us to work from home. And because we want to show, or, well, simply put, no. Unless we really, really need to. So when when the world kind of went that, or when Los Angeles kind of went on lockdown, it was difficult for us to get any work done, simply because a lot of the files that we work on need to be shared with others, and it gets it was frustrating to, because, the speed of the internet wasn't the greatest. Everybody's on the internet, so it slowed everything down. So you would think that it would be convenient, but it really wasn't. And Marie John says, I used to live in Pittsburgh for most of my life. Our houses were 10 feet away from each other if you were lucky. Here, my neighbors are about a quarter mile away. My choice to talk to them. Oh, interesting. Interesting. You don't think about that because when you're out there in rural areas, yeah, your neighbors are not so close by. Okay. Let's see, what time is it? Block number 1, the attic window. Well, it's not perfect, but I never said I was. So kind of close. I mean, it's not horrible. Although I don't know if that's going to really bother me, but I'm not going to let it bother me. Okay. Let's try. I'll put this aside and let's try. Now this seems easy because it's just a 4-patch. Well, it's just a bunch of 4 patches and squares. Yep. Let's give this a go. This should be quick. Hard part is, what size is that? I think I know. Okay, I'm gonna use white squares. I'll do it in purple. What? I think I know what size it is. So, also another 4-patch here. Finger press that down. Okay. Starting to sow my farmers. Oh. No traffic jams in the country. Unless it's with animals, maybe. Yeah. Speaking of my grandparents living on the plantation, there were times where we couldn't get the cars through because, of course, all the animals would be running around on the road just kind of going wild. So we would honk the horn and you would see all the chickens start trying to flap their wings. Well, not really the wings, but just kind of ruffle the feathers. Chickens have wings, right? Well, I know we eat them. Okay. Would anybody prefer to live in a big city as opposed to a small town or in a rural area? Because it sort of sounds like a lot of us would move to small towns because of the sense of community and the problems, or the how would you say? I don't want to say problems, but the issues of living in a big city. I'm just wondering if people are comfortable, or if people do prefer living in a big city. Okay, Denise is asking, mentioned riding the bus before. Do you have a car? Yes, I do. I do have a car. Sometimes I just ride the bus, though, so that I don't have to deal with the traffic and I can kind of relax while riding on the bus. Susie says 5 minutes to every place in my town. Wow, you lucky. Jim Bennett says, in spring and fall, we get traffic jams from tractors going very slow down highways. Hi, Billy. Thanks for joining here tonight. Judy Hebert says, if you move, will you have to change jobs or can you work from home? I would have to change jobs. Again, our company doesn't allow for remote work. Unless we have some like unusual circumstance. There are a few people that do work from home, sort of. Okay. Wait, what size am I making this? So I need... yeah. I think... Wait. Okay. There. I'm just trying to figure, is that the right size? Ooh, did I cut it too small? I hope not. We'll see. If not, I will take out another 4-patch. Nope, it's right. Okay, good. Okay, so with the farmer's wife quilt, each block is traditionally each block is 6.5 inches unfinished, so it's a 6-inch block when it's finished. So I'm just trying to figure out what the measurements are that I need to make each of these individual units. Okay, you are sounding lonely. If no support, small town won't help that. But being close to family and friends might. Try it for a year. Small town only good if you reach out. You know, Denise, I actually grew up in a small town where I did have a lot of friends around. It sort of feels like when I moved to, or these days especially, I kind of feel like there's like I don't have a lot of friends here. I mean, I actually do, but I don't get to see them as often. And I don't feel that sense of community here. And I think that's what I kind of miss a lot. But I kind of feel like I can adjust to a lot of different situations. I mean, I lasted what, 15, almost 15 years here in Los Angeles. So, but I think I just need a change of scenery to be as part of it. So, okay, I need 2 of them. Well, I'm going to be making more 4-patches anyway, so might as well just go for this. Okay, so I got 1 4-patch. This 4-patch can go in the pile. Shelly So says, love the colors. Thank you. And Barb McKinley says she likes the block. Thank you, thank you. Jim Bennett says liking it. Thank you. And Candy Grubisic. Did I get it right? She says she likes that one. Barb McKinley saying, Eric, since they don't give the sizes, you aren't giving anything away if you say what size you're making it. That might be true, but the thing is, I do know that other companies have also made the exact same quilt, so I don't. That's where I could potentially get into trouble. Or other companies have created their own pattern to the same quilt. So um, I don't know if just I need to kind of investigate the rules on that, because I know if I do give away the sizes, someone might be coming knocking on my door, and that's what I would be afraid of. But um, and I might be actually constructing it the same way somebody else does too, and not even know it. So I don't know. I'll look into the issues surrounding that. But for those of you who, or some of you may have heard me tell you this story, but on one of the quilt blocks, or on a previous tutorial, I kind of did something that I should not have done, and the company reached out to me saying, "Hey, you're kind of undermining us, or you're kind of giving away a trade secret," in which I really was. And so they didn't press charges or they didn't take legal action against me, but they kind of warned me, hey, you got to be aware of there's a lot of copyright and legal issues when you do things on YouTube, and you kind of give away trade secrets. So that's where I'm coming from with that. I got a lot of this gray. Might not be the prettiest thing, but you know what? I'm going to go with it. So, good way to make scraps is take a pre-cut and cut it down to size. Yeah, but with this quilt though, I mean, just by even looking at the picture, you can kind of, for those experienced quilters, you can kind of guess how to construct it. So, like I'm doing it, and I totally did that wrong. Wait, is this the right size? No, because this is not the right size. Oh, I cut it wrong. Shoot. No, I cut that one wrong. Did this one? No, that's even wrong. Oh boy. So what did I do wrong? Ah, I know what I did wrong. So I'm supposed to measure it from here. So these are I made 2.5 inches. Okay, this is going in the scrap bin. Well, good thing I have a lot of these. Okay, so let's make one 4-patch and then see what I'm supposed to cut it to. Okay, I think that is the most crooked 4-patch I've ever sewn. That's okay, I'm going to trim it down anyway. Let's see. No to big city, Barb McKinley says. Okay. Marie John says, woke up last Sunday morning to sheep in our front yard. No big city here. I hated it. Okay. Huh. So I'm supposed to actually cut this. Let's see. Yep. Hold on. Why did I think that? Doo-doo-doo. Is that right? Nope, still not right. Oh well. But I need another one. Well, at least this time it's too big. Still. Well, at least now I can measure it. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, a little lopsided. How did that happen? Oh well. I'll go with that. Okay, so John here says you need a 3.5 unfinished block. That's what I'm sure. Yep, you sure did get it right. Trying to, Candy. Trying to. Okay, forgot the seam allowance. Yep, forgot about the seam allowance, so can't stay up any longer. Quilt will be gorgeous. That gray will take on tones from other colors. I'll get the replay later. Thank you, Patty. Oops. Yep, that was a big oops. Okay, so it's 8:30, so I try to keep it to a 1 hour live on a Tuesday night. So I'm gonna try and figure out what size I'm supposed to be making these particular blocks, or what size these squares really need to be before I make my 4-patch. So I'm gonna keep trying at it, but we're gonna go ahead and call this a live. So I want to say thank you guys for joining me here tonight. We're gonna go ahead and sign off from here. But don't forget, for those of you that want to join the Zoom, send me an email at treasureheartcreations@gmail.com, and I shall be sending out the information for the Zoom meeting shortly, as well as check out the video about this quilt. Yeah, I really cut that bad. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed, had fun. It was great chatting with all of you guys tonight. And have a wonderful rest of the week. And I'll stay on for like a few seconds just to see if there's any questions. Thank you, Donna. Good luck with the quilt. See you next week. Thank you, Donna. All right. So, well, I want to say thank you guys for joining me here tonight. And you all know how I end the live. So, let's all get out there and let's all create something. So, bye for now.